Okay, so now we understand audio and MIDI. I want to look in this section at kind of how they work together. And when you're working on a whole track, how a whole track is not made up of audio or MIDI, but audio and MIDI. You can have tracks that are all MIDI and you can have tracks that are all audio. But in most cases, there's a combination of both. So when you look at a completed track, and I'm just going to show as an example this thing. This is just something that I'm working on right now. It's not complete, but it's getting there. You'll see that there's audio and MIDI. You know, these are audio tracks. These are MIDI tracks. This is an audio track. This is an audio track. This is a MIDI track. Those are MIDI tracks. And those are MIDI tracks. So all put together, it makes the track. It's very, very common. The most common thing in the world to have a mix of audio and MIDI. And there are even some tracks that are kind of a gray area between are they audio or are they MIDI. For example, these hi-hats. Let me solo this. Right? This is just a quick little hi-hat thing, and it's MIDI that's triggering an audio sample. So it's kind of audio and it's kind of MIDI. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm treating it like MIDI, and that's what you would do in a track like this. If I double click on it, you can see the MIDI notes. And you have tracks like this, like here's a kick. This is kind of like a big sizzly kick. Right? I could have done the same thing with that. I could have just triggered that with a sampler, or I could have just dropped it in here. It doesn't really matter. The result is the same. I end up with a lot of things like this in tracks because I had a very specific kind of kick sound I wanted, and I just wanted to throw it in there and see how it fit, and eventually one fit, so I left it. It's a little easier than loading something into a sampler, adjusting the levels, and then setting a MIDI track. Although if I thought ahead, it would probably be easier to do it in a sampler, because then I could swap out the kick easier. But this is just kind of my creative process. You'll find your own workflows. So as we go through this section, we're going to talk about some of the finer points about building a whole track using both audio and MIDI. We're going to talk about automation. So without further ado, let's dive in, and let's start with a MIDI trick that we should really address, and actually right in my clip of this track it should be addressed, and that is velocity editing. So let's go in and do a little of that to this track.